The Pazzi Conspiracy, one of the most dramatic and infamous assassination attempts in Renaissance history, unfolded in the heart of Florence in 1478. It was a bold and deadly plot designed to eradicate Lorenzo de Medici, the ruler of Florence, and his brother Giuliano. The conspirators, a group of disillusioned Florentine nobles, along with powerful allies in Rome, sought to seize control of the city and eliminate the Medici family's grip on power. However, despite meticulous planning and high-profile alliances, the assassination attempt ultimately failed, leading to severe retribution for the Pazzi family and their collaborators. The roots of the conspiracy lay in the intense political rivalry between the Medici and other influential families in Florence. The Medici family, through their banking empire and political maneuvering, had become the most powerful dynasty in the city. Lorenzo de Medici, known as Lorenzo the Magnificent, was not only a shrewd politician but also a patron of the arts, which earned him both admiration and envy. His influence extended far beyond Florence, but it also bred resentment, especially among those who felt sidelined by the Medici's dominance. Among these rivals were the Pazzi family, a wealthy and influential Florentine banking family that sought to challenge the Medici's supremacy. The Pazzi had long been dissatisfied with the Medici's control of the city's finances and political affairs. In particular, they resented the Medici's monopolization of the lucrative role of papal banker, which further cemented their influence over both secular and religious matters. The Pazzi felt that if they could remove Lorenzo and Giuliano de Medici from power, they could restore the balance of power in Florence and regain control of the banking privileges once held by their family. The conspiracy was not limited to the Pazzi family alone. They reached out to powerful allies in Rome, including Pope Sixtus IV, who had his own reasons for wanting to undermine Lorenzo. Sixtus had been frustrated by Lorenzo's refusal to support his political and ecclesiastical interests, particularly in matters concerning the papal states and appointments within the church. Additionally, Sixtus IV's nephew, Girolamo Riario, and the Archbishop of Pisa, Francesco Salviati, were key figures in the plot. The involvement of the Pope and his relatives added a layer of complexity to the conspiracy, transforming it from a local Florentine power struggle into a matter of international intrigue. The plan was set in motion in 1478, with the conspiracy targeting two key members of the Medici family, Lorenzo de Medici and his brother Giuliano. The plot was designed to take place during Mass at Florence's Duomo, Cathedral of Santa Maria del Fiore, a public and highly symbolic event. Lorenzo and Giuliano would attend Mass as they did on any other Sunday, but this time, the conspirators would strike. The idea was that, with the church crowded with loyal Florentines, the death of the Medici brothers would create chaos and allow the conspirators to seize control of the city. The plot had been meticulously planned. Francesco de Pazzi, one of the principal conspirators, was positioned close to Giuliano during the Mass. At the appointed moment, Francesco was supposed to stab Giuliano, and other conspirators were stationed throughout the church to join in the attack. Meanwhile, Bernardo Bandini, another conspirator, was assigned to kill Lorenzo. The plan was so carefully arranged that even the Pope's own agent, the Archbishop Salviati, would be involved in the effort to bring down the Medici. On the day of the assassination attempt, April 26, 1478, the church was filled with worshippers. Giuliano de Medici, despite being in poor health, attended Mass that day, and Lorenzo arrived with his brother, unaware of the plot against them. When the moment of attack came, Francesco de Pazzi struck first, stabbing Giuliano multiple times in the back. Giuliano was hit with at least 19 fatal blows, and he collapsed to the floor, his life drained away in a pool of blood. The murder of Giuliano, however, did not go as planned. Lorenzo, who had been positioned across the church, was attacked by another conspirator, Bernardo Bandini. However, Lorenzo's guards and supporters quickly intervened. Lorenzo, though wounded in the neck, managed to escape the initial onslaught. He fled into the sacristy of the church, where he was sheltered by his loyal followers, including his close friend, Agnolo di Donato, who helped him evade further injury. The conspirators, believing their mission had been successful, were shocked to see Lorenzo still alive. The failure of the assassination attempt set off a chain of events that would lead to the downfall of the Pazzi and their allies. The news of Giuliano's death and Lorenzo's survival spread quickly throughout Florence, sparking outrage and confusion. The Medici loyalists, many of whom were members of the city's elite, immediately took action. The reaction from the people of Florence was swift and unforgiving. The Pazzi family was seen as traitors, and the city's officials, under Lorenzo's direction, began to round up the conspirators. Jacopo de' Pazzi, the head of the family, was arrested and taken to the Palazzo della Signoria, where he was interrogated and eventually executed. Francesco de' Pazzi, who had attempted to flee the city, was captured and hanged publicly from a window in the palazzo. Archbishop Salviati, a key ally of the Pazzi, was also arrested and executed. Pope Sixtus IV's involvement in the conspiracy caused a major diplomatic crisis. Lorenzo, despite his anger at the Pope's betrayal, chose a path of political prudence. Instead of engaging in open conflict with the Vatican, Lorenzo worked diplomatically to neutralize the situation. He negotiated with the Pope, ensuring that Florence would remain under Medici control and preventing any further papal retaliation. Sixtus, embarrassed by the failure of the plot and the exposure of his role in the conspiracy, withdrew his support for the Pazzi and distanced himself from the matter. The aftermath of the Pazzi conspiracy was a turning point in Florentine politics. Lorenzo de' Medici emerged not only as a survivor but as an even more powerful figure. The failed assassination attempt solidified his position as the ruler of Florence and allowed him to consolidate even more power. The Medici family's dominance was further entrenched, and Lorenzo's reputation as a master of political maneuvering and diplomacy grew. He had faced a direct threat to his life and the power of his family, and his ability to navigate this crisis only enhanced his authority in Florence. For the Pazzi family, however, the consequences were dire. The failure of their plot led to their near-complete destruction. The Pazzi were exiled, their property seized, and their influence in Florence extinguished. The Medici's victory over the Pazzi conspiracy marked the end of any serious challenge to their rule. And the family's influence in Italy remained unchallenged for decades. The Pazzi conspiracy remains one of the most famous assassination attempts in history, not only because of its audacity but also because of its failure. The events of April 1478 are a testament to the dangers of political ambition and the high stakes of power in Renaissance Italy. The Pazzi, despite their meticulous planning and powerful alliances, were unable to overcome the Medici's influence, and their betrayal was met with swift and brutal retribution. This episode serves as a reminder that in the game of politics, even the most carefully laid plans can fail, and those who seek to rise through violence and treachery often find themselves doomed to fall.